Chapter 1929 The Secret Attacker. After several rounds of attacks, Zhang Yi's Luo Wanxiang was finally broken. Brian. Even for him, it would be difficult to withstand the multiple rounds of attacks from the two ghost leaders at once. But then again, if it weren't for him, no one would have survived to this day. The destruction of everything in the universe forced everyone to face the two ghost leaders, the undead infant and the crow of evil, and there were countless ghosts around them. Boom! The undead evil baby spat out a beam of light from its mouth, sweeping directly across the pool of water. Zhang Yi immediately dodged with the people around him. He drew out the magic knife, and the power of the void formed a huge vortex behind him. Infinite power of nothingness gathered in his hands and flowed on the blade. Star Blade. A huge black blade light extended out for thousands of meters and slashed towards the neck of the immortal evil baby. Even though the neck is full of fat, common sense suggests that it should be a vital point. With one strike of the knife, a long crack appeared on the neck of the immortal evil baby, but no blood flowed out of it. Instead, a large amount of black demonic energy spurted out. Wow! The undead evil baby howled even louder in pain, and began to attack its surroundings indiscriminately, even more frantically. It didn't matter that a large number of little ghosts were smashed into meat paste by it. Odibio stood in the middle of everyone, chanting shamanic spells all the time. Seeing this, he loudly reminded everyone, "Don't try to kill them anymore. These guys can't be killed. They are just demons created by the demon god in a dream. The only options are to seal them up or escape." He cut his arm with the bone dagger, and then stained Zhang Yi and the others' weapons with his blood. The blood of a shaman can overcome filth, which may be helpful to you. But right now, we should leave here immediately. Once the war starts, the situation will only develop in a direction that is unfavorable to us. Odibio looked around and saw endless ghosts howling and attacking him. The 8 evil crows plus the undead evil babies had formed a horrific killing situation. This is all so abnormal. It shouldn't be like this. It's as if they knew we would come here. Everything is not going the way we want it to. We have to get out of here and take control of the situation. Many people have discovered this. Everything seemed to be a trap prepared for them. Their troubles never stopped since they entered the Devil's Eye. It was as if they were not the ones who came to seal Mammon, but Mammon opened its pockets and invited them to take out. But why is this happening? Did someone do something secretly? Zhang Yi's eyes swept across everyone in the scene and finally fell on Olibu. He began to doubt whether this was all arranged by Olib, because he came from the Roman Catholic Church and was also the initiator of the movement. But is this reasonable? What good would it do for the church to kill them all? Zhang Yi doesn't think that the Holy See has the ability to eliminate this deputy and seal Mammon alone. Moreover, the Olibo people were also having a hard time fighting at this moment. But if it wasn't Olib, who could it be? No matter how you look at it, Olib is suspicious. At this time, Kant's voice sounded in Zhang Yi's ears. "This all seems like a conspiracy, Lao Zhang. We can't stay here any longer. If we stay, we will definitely die. We have to leave as soon as possible. There might be a conspirator among these people." Zhang Yi was about to answer something when suddenly the undead evil baby attacked him. The huge beam of light was filled with the breath of death, which made Zhang Yi feel frightened. If Nyx had not blocked its sight, the threat it posed would have been even greater. Second Hand of Time predicted the trajectory of its attack, and Zhang Yi moved away instantly, so as not to be affected. These ghost leaders are indeed powerful, but Zhang Yi today is no longer the insignificant alien he once was. Relying on his powerful strength and various trump cards, he can even fight against a black cult-level alien. The worst outcome was that he could escape, so he wasn't particularly scared. However, in such a complex environment, he had to consider how to find the place where Mammon was sealed and seal it successfully. Only then could he remove the threat of the evil eye tattoo on his body. In addition, Ling's prosthetic body must also be recovered. It will be his most powerful trump card when facing a major disaster in the future. We have to leave immediately. Don't fight. Zhang Yi called everyone and decided to leave this place immediately and then find a solution. He used the divine chain to wrap around the spear of Longinus and smashed it hard at the undead infant. The huge bronze pillar whizzed towards the undead infant. The undead evil baby didn't dodge or evade, but let out a miserable wail and actually reached out and grabbed it. Boom! The spear of Longinus hit its arm and then hit its belly. Its huge body tilted in the pool of water, and its wailing became even more mournful. The undead evil baby seemed to be enraged, and the black light from its mouth shot indiscriminately around, shooting wildly like a madman. Seeing that there was not much damage to it even after all this, Zhang Yi finally realized that it was beyond human control and he had to escape from the encirclement of the ghost monsters as soon as possible. But at this time, gathering everyone together has become a luxury. As the Sinluo Wanxiang was breached, a large number of ghosts and crows of evil came close and started a bloody hand-to-hand combat with the alien coalition. Lao Zhang, let's leave quickly. We can't wait any longer. We can't save everyone. Kant's voice rang anxiously in Zhang Yi's ears, and a trace of anxiety arose in Zhang Yi's heart. The collision of supernatural powers and flying flesh and blood filled the entire space. At this moment, he suddenly felt dizzy, and there was an electric sound in his ears, making him unable to hear what was happening around him. Buzz! The tinnitus and dizziness caused him to stagger, and he almost fell into the puddle. And in just such a split second, a silent but deadly cold light shot out from behind Zhang Yi. It came behind Zhang Yi, and when his Sinluo Wanxiang could no longer unfold quickly, it approached his back. The brief moment of unconsciousness made it too late for Zhang Yi to realize everything. He felt a chill down his spine, and could only hope that the demon god armor could block the attack. Everything was calculated so cleverly, and the direction behind him was clearly left to the aliens of the coalition forces. However, the dizzy feeling caused him to temporarily lose his mind, and he was unable to activate the second hand of time. All this seemed to be a conspiracy against him, just for the perfect opportunity at this moment. Zhang Yi's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He didn't expect that the real enemy came from within. But if you want to kill him like this, it's just a dream. It was obviously too late to open the secondary door and escape into the void. But he has a killer trick that can help him avoid all so-called fatal attacks. A moment in the sky. Even though this move has many limitations in use and will cause a certain degree of damage to the body after use, this is the only way to ensure your condition at this time. Otherwise, even if he survived a blow, if he was seriously injured, it would be difficult to protect himself in such a chaotic battle situation. Zhang Yi was ready to take action, but just before the minute hand of the pendulum in his left eye began to swing, he suddenly realized something and stopped his actions. From another direction, a ray of light with a strong sense of death also attacked behind him. But the target was not him, but the energy beam that was going to kill him. The two forces collided less than 1 meter behind Zhang Yi, and the fatal beam of light disappeared instantly the moment it was touched by the death energy. By this time Zhang Yi had come to his senses. The battlefield around him had already become extremely chaotic, but the feeling of being secretly attacked hung over Zhang Yi's heart. He knew that the person who wanted to kill him was nearby, perhaps one of these priests. But now, I can't stay here any longer. Withdraw. Zhang Yi let out a low shout, and all the aliens in his team gathered around him and immediately entered Mu Yan's shadow. Zhang Yi turned around and fled into the distance without hesitation. This scene stunned the other aliens. They had all felt the attack on Zhang Yi just now. After all, an attack of that level was hard to ignore. No one expected that someone would attack Zhang Yi at this time. There was no reason to dissuade Zhang Yi from leaving. After all, there was an enemy within the organization, and everyone was a suspect. Besides, leaving here now is the best choice. Damn it! Who is this bastard? Everyone looked at each other, with a hint of doubt in their eyes. However, now is not the time for internal strife. Damn! Oga shouted. He held a long lightning spear in each hand and threw them at the groups of crow soldiers in front of him. 2 huge balls of lightning exploded instantly, blasting a large number of crow soldiers into mincemeat. The 8-winged Pegasus raised its hooves and neighed, and then Aoer took the lead and rushed to the outside area. The battlefield was in chaos, and all the aliens broke out on their own. The Dark Goddess Nyx and Saladin were originally the darlings of the Dark World, but seeing the chaotic situation, they did not linger in the battle. Instead, they used their abilities to scout for others and cover everyone's retreat. However, the current battle situation was developing in a direction that was completely unfavorable to them. Suspicion had arisen among each other internally. Moreover, they had no good way to get rid of the powerful ghost leader here. There are 8 evil crows, and each one shows the strength of a bishop. Even if a part of it can be sealed, as long as one is still alive, the others may split again and become more powerful. What's more, there is an immortal evil baby with full defensive and offensive capabilities. Zhang Yi decisively chose to escape, but after he traveled through space, he suddenly felt a terrifying aura coming from behind him. Wow! A shrill scream came from behind. Zhang Yi turned around and found that the huge baby was on all fours, crawling towards him in a very twisted posture, like a gray monster fish. The body of the monster is extremely huge, but it can move at a lightning speed, and it is accompanied by countless gray ghost walkers. Wow! The undead evil baby chased after Zhang Yi, screaming miserably. It seemed as if he had identified Zhang Yi. Even after activating his ability to travel through space, he was still caught up so quickly. Why is this guy targeting me? Zhang Yi's scalp felt numb. He knew that he must not be dragged here, because in the distance, the clone of the evil crow was also chasing the side at a high speed, and it seemed that they would not stop until one was dead. The ghost walkers will kill all creatures that enter the land sealed by Mammon, unless they choose to fall and become new ghost walkers. Zhang Yi looked around cautiously because he didn't know who might suddenly attack him in secret. He clenched the divine refining magic sword in his hand, and the power of the void formed an incomparably huge vortex behind him, circling like a huge black hole, and an incomparably terrifying force emerged. Zhang Yi flipped his wrist, and a full-strength attack instantly ejected from his magic fist, transforming into a huge black blade that pierced through space and pierced straight into the eyes of the undead evil baby. A full-strength attack, an energy level that even a black bishop-level alien would need to dodge. However, the undead evil baby had no intention of dodging such an attack. It screamed and screamed, like a vengeful spirit transformed from the ghost of an abandoned baby who died, and it crawled and twisted quickly to chase after it. Zhang Yi's full-strength attack landed on it, but it only caused its eyelids to close. A faint black mist slowly rose from its eyelids, but it did not cause much damage. The screams of the undead evil baby became more and more terrifying. The sound had a devilish sound that made people's scalps numb. They felt as if their internal organs were about to come out of their throats, and their entire chest cavity was like a high-speed washing machine. At the critical moment, it was the Demon God Armor's autonomous defense system that started to work, trying to isolate the sonic attack that attempted to invade Zhang Yi's body. The technological level of the mechanical civilization is very high. Although they are not very good in the field of supernatural powers, they have studied the external ways thoroughly. Just the demon armor on Zhang Yi was something that Lu Kenan couldn't even make another set of. He simply modified it from Yichigel's armor. Perhaps there are few civilizations on the entire planet that can create armor comparable to mine. Boom! The undead evil baby quickly crawled towards Zhang Yi like a moving gray mountain. It opened its dark pupils and crawled towards Zhang Yi screaming like a devil from hell. Anyone facing such a scene would feel their scalp tingling. Its defense is too strong, and ordinary attacks are simply ineffective. A large number of little ghosts swarmed around like locusts, and Zhang Yi's heartbeat speed increased. Lauda, let us go help you. Fatty Su's voice rang in Zhang Yi's ears. Everyone in the shadow space also felt the terrible crisis and wanted to help Zhang Yi. Only Yang Xinxin stopped them. Don't go over and cause trouble. The battlefield is too complicated, and there are enemies in the dark. Fighting is irrational. The most sensible choice is to escape as soon as possible. She was right. Without finding out whether there were other enemies in the dark, it was impossible for Zhang Yi to fight this undead monster with all his strength. In the current situation, they are too passive. This is weird. Very weird. Brother, please love the god of death. Yang Xinxin gave Zhang Yi some suggestions. Large-scale lethal weapons should not have been used in such a place because there were many other aliens from other human forces nearby. However, at the moment, Zhang Yi had to get rid of the current crisis as soon as possible. Zhang Yi was also very decisive. He opened the secondary door and took out a large yield love-death pill in one breath. After being modified by Liu Karen, this product saves the trouble of carrying ballistic missiles and can be detonated at a long distance, which is very suitable for Zhang Yi's fighting style. Wow! The undead evil baby howled as it rushed towards Zhang Yi, its huge head already less than a kilometer away from Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi stared at it intently and finally looked into its huge mouth that was as dark as the abyss. Finally, he sent a warning to other alien teams through the communication channel. I'm about to release the god of death. Stay away. Maybe one of these people wanted to harm him, but maybe it wasn't them. Moreover, even if there were traitors, Zhang Yi was sure that most people were innocent. It would undoubtedly be extremely stupid to put oneself in such a desperate situation in order to harm him. After Zhang Yi issued a warning, he immediately opened the secondary door. Space travel not only allows people to move, but also allows objects to be transported. In a spherical space of 4 kilometers with him as the center, he can teleport any matter that does not contain spiritual to any location. Of course, this also includes the gaping mouth of the immortal evil baby. A large amount of love-death fell directly into its mouth. This ghost leader seemed to have no wisdom, just like a baby, with only the instincts of eating and destroying. It represents the innocent part of Mammon's subconscious mind. At the moment of death, Zhang Yi's foot stepped on the edge of the door for the first time. Detonating the love-death god, he quickly opened up a distance of 4 kilometers, and then another 4 kilometers. All the way back, a horrifying light burst out from the mouth of the undead evil baby. It felt the burning temperature in its mouth, and actually tried to close its mouth and swallow this disgusting feeling into its stomach. But in less than a second, its head turned red and even transparent, its huge face swelled up, and dark red smoke gushed out uncontrollably from its 7 orifices. Wow! It stretched its neck and pointed its head toward the sky. Its huge, ugly, round head was like a clepsydra, spewing out the power of a nuclear explosion from its 7 orifices. Although Zhang Yi ran away fast enough, he could still feel the terrible burning sensation behind him. The radiation made him tremble with fear. Fortunately, the undead evil baby withstood most of the force of the explosion, so he was not affected at all, and the aftermath was also absorbed by the demon armor. However, the power of the nuclear explosion was still greater than imagined, and the power caused the entire space to tremble violently. The mountains shook and the earth trembled. Zhang Yi remembered that this place was a huge and long tunnel, which should be a cave space deep underground. The power of the nuclear explosion, as well as the resistance put forward by Leader Yoshing when he was attacked, resulted in the collapse of the entire space. It's not the collapse of the cave, but the collapse of space. Because everything Zhang Yi saw was distorted, endless darkness enveloped everything, and his field of vision was gradually stretched to include all light and shadow, and his body was in a state of confusion. Zhang Yi had no way of determining the exact direction and could only flee in the opposite direction of the undead infant. From nowhere, a reassuring voice sounded. "Lao Zhang, come this way." Zhang Yi seemed to have found his backbone and immediately started space travel in the guided direction. The surroundings became extremely dark and he suddenly couldn't see anything. I don't know if Nyx's protection is still there, but even if it still exists, it may be meaningless. Because there is nothing here, it seems to make no difference whether you can see something or not. He only felt that the aftermath of the nuclear explosion was still spreading, or that the human coalition and the ghost walkers were still fighting. He ran forward quickly and could even hear the sound of his own heart beating. Calm down and take a deep breath. Okay, that's it. My heart rate has calmed down. Something is wrong. Everything that happened today is wrong. This is definitely not a coincidence. This is my first feeling after surviving the brink of life and death countless times. This strange feeling must be something I don't know. The appearance of the Ghost Walker and the Ghost Walker leader doesn't seem like a coincidence. It's also not a coincidence that we were trapped by the Chimanduanjia formation right after entering this world. Being attacked in secret is definitely not a coincidence. So, is this a conspiracy? Who here is the guy who attacked me? An attack powerful enough to threaten my life, and a sudden attack of spiritual power. On the spiritual level, my defense is not that strong. If I am not paying attention, a tank-level spiritual mutant may have an impact on me. But that attack must be launched by a bishop. Odin's ability is lightning, and Olib's is fire. Fremons have seen how they fight. It won't be them. Then it was either Odibio or Saladin, or that androgynous fellow in Colombia? But what is their purpose? Could it be that? An idea emerged in Zhang Yi's mind. They already know that I deceived everyone. In the end, I am the one who got the inheritance of the Ihan tribe. All kinds of thoughts were mixed together, and Zhang Yi couldn't determine who it was in a short time. After thinking it over, he felt that Saladin and Sharon Nix were the most suspicious. Because everyone was gathered together at that time, Odibio kept chanting spells to deal with the Ghost Walker. If anyone else took action, it would be too conspicuous. But Saladin and Nix were able to use the shadows to launch attacks and hide them from everyone. Things are not as simple as I thought. Besides, Zhang Yi frowned, and a new problem arose. Who was the person who secretly helped me when I was attacked? Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.